Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. Today I'm going to be covering the Tier 10 Italian Tech Tree Destroyer, the Attilio Regolo, for tech trials. Now, I know a lot of you requested the ship in the Burrows video, so here it is. We'll be talking about its strengths, weaknesses, whatever, everything. I'll be covering 2 games in the ship. Both I played them already, so they're both pre-recorded games, but I'll be covering them in a commentary. For my commander build for the Attilio Regolo is the Preventative Maintenance, Last Stand, Survivability Expert, Concealment Expert, Fearless Brawler, Adrenaline Rush, and Main Battery and AA Expert. For my equipment, I'm running Main Battery Mod 3, Concealment System Mod 1, Prop Mod 1, Aiming System Mod 1, Engine Boost Mod 1, and Main Armaments Mod 1. By the way, thank you so much for all the subscribers. By the way, in the past month, I think 450 plus subscribers. Thank you so much. For those of you who have not subscribed though, I would greatly appreciate it a lot if you do leave a sub to the channel, as it helps me out a lot to create content and everything. So, well, it helps support the channel for free, so it's always really nice, right? Okay, so in the Attilio Regolo here, what are its strengths and weaknesses? We've got 7.2 kilometer detection, one of our main weaknesses for the ship. 11.5 kilometer gun range, another weakness for the ship. You could say, realistically, it's a strength and a weakness, because the strength is the fact that you can go dark after a short destroyer engagement, even though you're shooting. For example, let me show you here. I'll shoot this Hoffman, but I can still go dark because there's nothing else in range, because we don't have a lot of range. But it does limit us when we're farming longer range, for example, battleships or cruisers that have those 12 kilometer radars. But we are running Cincinnati here, so if we do get a kill, we do get improved gun range. Another downside would be the main gun reload, but it's actually not that bad, knowing with the fact that we have 8 guns with SAP. It's not that bad, especially since I'm not even running the full gun reload, since I'm not taking that 3-point skill, which I definitely recommend you run, actually, after playing it a while. HP-wise, strength, 31,850. We've got 6 of each consumable with this build, but 5 with not, so still quite a lot of consumables. We've got SAP, which is good. We've got fire chance with 8 guns, 10%. By the way, I'm testing my audio. For those of you guys wondering why I'm shooting my guns into the random villages or whatever, and using my horn a lot this game, I'm gonna be testing the audio this game because people in Twitch chat were, well, suggesting I increase the in-game volume because it wasn't loud enough, even in the videos, for example. So I'm wondering now if it's loud enough, if it's fair, for example, compared to my voice, is the in-game volume loud enough? I'll be wondering that, so please do let me know in the comments, guys. I would greatly appreciate it, because I did change the audio, at least the in-game volume, quite a lot, whilst I retained the microphone volume at the exact same point. So do let me know if at least you can hear me, even when the commander is speaking, when the horn is going, when the guns are going. So it might be a bit annoying for this game, guys, but I would greatly appreciate, like I said, if you were to at least guide me, tell me what, or at least give me some feedback on the audio there, because I'm not really an audio guru, so I'm trying to learn to improve, of course, the quality for the videos. You see me here fighting this Hoffman. Unfortunately, he is bow in, so we are using SAP. But you know what? It's okay. We try our best here to get some damage on him. One more strength I forgot to mention about the ship is the top speed. The top speed, I think, is the fastest ship in the game, or at least first or second fastest after Paolo Emilio. I think they're very close, if not the same top speed. So yeah, pretty fast ship indeed. But the speed boost doesn't last, for example, as long as Kleber's speed boost. It's a short duration speed boost, but it gives you a solid, I think, 25% speed buff, which is always really much appreciated, right? Another downside would be, even though you have a big HP pool on the ship, you do have a big hull. That means you're gonna get hit pretty easily if you're caught out in the open or whatever. And another thing I wanted to mention is I don't think you have big armor. So even though you're a big ship, for example, like Khabarovsk, you do not have that 50mm armor plating, so you can't really non-pen some HE, unfortunately. So you're going to be taking that HE damage for sure. But anyway, you see me here just open up a bit, trying to get some damage. The reason I'm doing this a bit, since I'm a bit confident here, is the Petro is pointed away. Unfortunately, he does turn his ship back to get his guns on me. So I'm going to get hit a bit, but it's okay. We don't actually use our speed boost. Oh, no. He didn't really hit me. I was a bit lucky there, which is nice. I skipped a bit forward because literally nothing happened. All I did was sail into the cap and cap. I basically am just trying to get into gun range. Games like these where ships are literally kited away from you, the Regolo is going to find a bit of a harder time playing into these ships that are pre-kited. Definitely better on games where people are pushing into you. Now, this is most ships. I think almost all ships is better that people are actually pushing into you than them pushing away. But Regolo is going to feel that, especially since of its limited gun range. You're going to have a bit of a hard time because of that very short... Well, in this case, 12.4 now, since we got a little buff due to the fact that we have Sansanity. But it's still quite limiting, especially into those radar cruisers. If they're walking away from you, it's not just 12 kilometers you have to shoot, because you also have to give them some lead. So when they're walking away from you at 12 kilometers, you actually have to give them lead at 13 kilometers, and that's just something you don't have. So it's always better, for example, you find things that are broadside to you at maybe 12 or 11, or potentially people pushing into you is always the best things to fight against. And you do need to position yourself into a position where you are receiving pushes more often, for example, or you're fighting destroyers, for example. But the problem with fighting destroyers in this ship mostly is going to come down to that concealment disadvantage you have. If you do have your team spotting for you, you are going to be able to get huge damage on the enemy destroyer since, well, you have that sap, right? So if you have that spotting from your teammates, you're going to be able to unload some big damage. That being said, though, don't be afraid to use the HE in certain situations. The fire chance is pretty decent. As you can see, I'm already on 4 fires. The fire chance is decent. It just really depends on what ships you're fighting against and what angles you're fighting against. Now, in this case, we're able to aim for superstructures on the Lepanto, so we're able to get 2+ K damage per salvo, which is nice. I think that's pretty nice, consistent damage. And we're going to try to keep doing that. Now, you see me stop firing when the smoke ends. That's overall what you're supposed to be doing with this ship, is trying to use the smoke. When the smoke runs out, stop shooting. Or if you're really comfortable, maybe it's just a situation where it's just a destroyer or some ships where you can really fight them in the open. You can actually open up and deal with them with the speed boost since you go so fast. But do be careful though, since you are a big ship, you are still easy to hit. And you do not have the French saturation Clever or Marceau have. So you have to be careful. And you hear me say that a lot. You have to be careful. But you do have to be careful with this ship because it is big. And it's not that easy to play. Even though, you know, I am wondering what you guys think of it. Like, I enjoy playing it, sure. And I think in my original review, I did say it's pretty good. But that was a long time ago. But I can see why some people might not like it. And that is because it might not be that easy to play due to the range limitation. But I do wonder what a lot of you think. Because I actually think a lot of you do enjoy playing the ship. Now, we find an Udoloy here. Full broadside. Hold on. I'll continue on my topic in a second. We get 2k damage there. Unfortunately, we missed our first shot a bit. Second shot, we get a solid 4,000 damage on the Udoloy. I was hoping for another 4k salvo, but unfortunately, we only do 1k there. The third salvo there was actually a 3k salvo. Not the best, not the worst. But like I was saying, guys, I would love to hear what you guys think about the Regolo. Do you enjoy playing it? I really want to know. Also, something to note is, I believe the next dockyard ship that will be coming out is the Lucian B dockyard. Whilst I don't think I'm actually going to be buying that dockyard, I do have a Lucian. I did grind it originally, I believe. I actually got it for free back then because I was a CC. But I will be covering it in a review on Thursday. So if you want to see that review, well, you don't have to say yes or no, because I will be covering it probably for sure because I already have the game ready. I just haven't recorded it just yet, but I will be covering the Lucian, the normal Lucian for the Lucian B dockyard event. And hopefully next patch I end up unlocking the Bridgeport, because I do want to play that one and feature it for you guys, but I will have to unlock it manually. So you're going to have to keep in mind that I will need to grind it like you guys. So give me some time to grind and I will cover it in a review as well. The Bridgeport, the tier 8 American cruiser, and the Lucian, the tier 10 Chinese destroyer. So that's pretty exciting. We got some reviews coming up, so that's pretty cool. But in the meantime here, we got the Regolo. We're gonna start opening up on this GK. Now, you saw I was only on 96k damage before we start opening up on this GK. The game is pretty much auto-lost at this point. It's been auto-lost for quite a long time, because look at the ship disadvantage, guys. This is not really an easily winnable game. What we can do is receive this GK push. Fighting the Moskva is almost impossible right now. I don't know his HP, actually, but I think he's pretty healthy, so fighting him is almost pretty impossible. Actually, he's 14k. But still, I don't really want to fight him because I'll take so much damage. I'll probably just end up dying in 3 or 4 salvos. Especially if he gets radar on me, which is pretty easy since, you know, 12-kilometer gun range, 12-kilometer radar. But anyway, so we're trying to chunk down this GK, and we are getting some good damage on him already. We got around 40k on him pretty fast. And that's pretty much the only damage he's eaten, which is really interesting. But hopefully we can end up at least damaging him enough where we can probably finish him off with torps. Now, the torp reload, as you can see, is pretty decent. I didn't really talk about the torps because they're kind of like extra on the ship. They only do 13.9k damage. They only go 56 knots. I think they are reasonably stealthy, and they do have a lot of range. But due to that top speed and the damage, they're not really too beneficial. You can rely on them for a flood or two and maybe some extra raw damage, which is really nice. And in emergency situations, when you're rushing someone and maybe they're a bit low, you can actually end up finishing them off, which is really nice. So the GK, still 50k HP on him, still a lot of HP we're gonna need to burn through, but we do have some torps in the water going towards him, which is really nice. We got 2 torps there and a flooding, down to 19k. Now this GK is almost dead. Maybe we can potentially actually end up finishing him off. We're up to 200k damage, which is really nice. Hopefully we can get a 220k game maybe. Hopefully. We're up to 217, 218. Can we flood out the GK potentially? 219. Yes, we do get the flooding kill there on the GK. And that's when those torpedoes can be a bit useful, for example, just to finish off those healthy targets or those lower HP targets. He was 40k. We flooded them out pretty fast there. And we'll take a look at the score screen after the game's done, so we can see how much flooding damage we did to that guy. But that's pretty much the game. I'm just going to shoot the Petro, probably get 220k, and the game would just end because I just end up dying. So GG. For personal score, for our first game in the Regolo, we got 220,591 damage, 409 shell hits, 3 torpedo hits, 2 incapacitations, 2 kills, 7 fires, 1 flooded ribbon, 6 defended ribbons, 1 assisted encap, and 3 spotting ribbons. Team score, we ended up getting top of our team. Unfortunately, it was a loss, but losses do happen, so it is what it is. Detailed report, 123k on that GK, 12k from flooding, 33k from full fires, it seems like, and then some mixed damage from HE and SAP. Got 26k on that Hoffman, 20k on the Lepanto, 13k on the Sibir, 13k on the Lion, 11k on the Petro and the Udaloy, and 1k on the Moskva. 40k from HE damage there, 90k from SAP, 31k from torpedoes, and 58k from a combined fires and floodings. 31k damage received from everything. We did die, so we took our max HP. And here is the credits and XP screen. Here we are in the second game in the Attilio Regolo, Tier 10 Tech 3 Italian Destroyer, guys. But as you can see, I kind of hit the rock. This is not a good position to beach in. I wanted to actually turn, but unfortunately I didn't turn early enough, which means I actually hit the rock, and that means we're gonna end up taking damage. And a joke I made on stream is, I don't really need to take survivability expert, guys, because it seems like I always start the games off with no survivability expert. But then again, if I didn't take survivability expert, we would be very low HP right now. So actually, survivability expert is a must for me. Well, probably for everyone, but most importantly for me. Because if I didn't have survivability expert, my ship would literally have less HP than every other Attilio Regolo in the game, even without survivability experts. So we definitely need it. Jokes aside. Here we are holding the cap, at least sitting here. We can't really pressure the cap as much. Like I said in the last game, we do have a concealment limitation of 7.2 kilometers, which means we're not going to be able to play that big opener. For example, like Laffy here, where we go in, get that super heal up, we get a big burst fire out. Okay, jokes aside, maybe Laffy is not the best example, but there are other examples where you can maybe play a bit more aggressive, not too aggressive into a Hoffman realistically, or a Howden Leo there. But In this case, we're just gonna sit here for a bit, chill out, vibe, and just AFK, I guess. We're literally AFK, apparently, because I'm literally not moving. And, well, there you go. There's not much happening, guys, I have to say. But we're being patient. This is called the patient playstyle, and we need to be patient sometimes when we play these ships, or else we're going to end up dying very fast. And we're already on a very respectable 8.9k damage. Hoffman gets spotted. We're instantly on the lock-in mode. We got a shot off on him. There is another destroyer on the flank. Now, you see that Howden Leyu died, which actually makes me a bit more confident that I can actually push up and play that destroyer role, which I wanted to. I was mentioning it a bit before. Unfortunately, so I tried shooting, hoping I don't get spotted. But then I realized I'm still spotted, which means there is another destroyer here. And if we were to press tab, the only destroyers in the game are Ragnar, Alvaro, Shima, and Hoffman. And Alvaro and Ragnar are on the other side of the map, so they're very much spotted, which means the only destroyer we're missing is the Shima. You could say, well, maybe it's a submarine. Well, not, because he's also spotted on the other side of the map. So, from deduction, it is the Shimakaze, and that means I get a bit excited here. I push up a bit. I'm more aggressive. We see the Shimakaze torps at this point, so we're 100% certified as the Shima. We already knew it's the Shima, but now we're 100% for sure it's the Shima. Now the smoke screen is going to clear, which means, boom, random Shima spotted. He's at 21,400 HP. Mark his HP, guys. 6k salvo there from 6 pens. Another 4k salvo there on that Shima. And we get another 4 pens on that Shima. And I don't know how much damage we've done to that Shima, but we're going to try blind fire him. And we end up killing him with the blind fire. And that is one of those situations where, for example, the flank gets emptied and you can just push up, for example, a bit more aggressive into those destroyers and surprise them, really catch them by surprise, even though they're gonna see your smoke screen running at them at full speed. They might not be ready for that. They just don't expect that you're going to go into that cap right there. The Hoffman, for example, it was a bit of a risk for us, guys, but I do have to say we do have a Hoffman, Smolensk, Preußen there to help us, so I felt a bit more confident that I could play a bit more aggressive. And remember, their team didn't have any support there because their support ships did die. We see a Ragnar right there, which is actually a really nice ship for me to fight against because it's a big box. We're going to get full pens on it if we actually end up fighting it, which is really nice. GK gets spotted. Secondaries are flailing, shooting at me, unfortunately. But that's okay. You see me rotating here onto the B cap. The reason for this is, well, I feel like if I sat on C after fighting that Shima, I'm going to be very aggressive. Next to the GK Hydro. The GK Hydro is going to spot me for the Hoffman, for the Thunder, for the Yamato even. So why not just go to the B cap and fight the Ragnar? The Vermont is the biggest risk for me at this point. In this position, even the GK secondaries are a bit of a risk if we get spotted, but Vermont's the biggest risk for me in this situation. But he is dying, guys, and I know he's dying because his HP is going down very fast, and the fact that he's dying allows me to play, well, more confident. And that's kind of what you want here, is a bit of confidence when playing the Regolo. You need to know what you're doing a bit. Like, what position am I going to put myself in next? I say this in almost every ship I play. What position you need to put yourself in? There are some ships in the game where maybe they sit at the back of the map or long range and they don't really have to think about maybe 10 minutes in advance, you know. But this is a ship where you kind of have to think about what you're going to be doing. You can't just run into places. Okay, you can realistically run into places and not care. But it's always best to plan out your approach. At least maybe not 10 minutes in advance, but at least a minute or two in advance. Like say, oh, what am I going to go do next? In this case, my thought is I'm going to go farm the GK, potentially even the Thunder and the Yamato. That's where the battleships are. That's where the HP is. That's what I want. So that's where I'm going. I think I'm not even going to cap this. I'm just going to go full speed because I do trust my teammates here. They're going to cap. We're going to get the C cap as well. And we do have a 2-ship advantage, a 2-ship lead here. So it's pretty nice. I think we are also ahead on points. Do ignore the points here because I think they are inverted, unfortunately. Yes, they are. So do ignore the points. They are a bit inverted. Or at least don't ignore them, but treat them as the opposite way. This is just a replay bug, unfortunately. So you see me here smoke up a bit too late. So This is something I do. I'm a bit greedy, so I just end up shooting and then smoking up. What you should realistically do is smoke up, then instantly start shooting, guys. Not start shooting, get second read, and then smoke up, you know what I mean? But anyway, you see me getting some big sap damage here on this GK. I launched some preemptive torpedoes here in the general direction of the GK and the Thunder. Hopefully, long term, I can get them. You're wondering maybe, why am I going so far north? And realistically, I'm actually going for that Yamato. And you might say, why are you going for that Yamato and not this GK? Going for the GK here isn't the best of strategies, because we're going to be caught up in that second range the entire time, because our gun range is less than his secondary range. So I'm trying to actually get into main gun range of that Yamato. So our main priority target will be the Yamato, and we can kind of like isolate ourselves to only fight the Yamato. It's always better to try put yourself in a position. Now, I know this isn't for always, but it's always trying better to put yourself into a position where you're trying to get shot at by less ships. Be behind an island, be it behind the smoke screen, be it maybe you're further away. For example, in this case, we're further away from the GK. That means it's less likely the GK is going to end up focusing us. He has other more important targets that are closer to him to deal with. So he's going to be focusing those. And in our case, we're going to be focusing this Yamato. Did you forget about those torpedoes I launched on those GK and Thunder, guys? Because I did, actually. I completely forgot about them when I played this game originally. But keep in mind, the sap damage is huge. Lovely to see big sap damage. Boom! Torpedo, random hit. Two more torpedoes. We get 3 solid torpedo hits there on that GK. I think they're all on the GK, which is really nice. We end up probably trying to squeeze out this Yamato. We end up killing him. And that's pretty much the game for our second game. For personal score for our second game there, we got 162,518 damage, 297 shell hits, 3 torp hits, 1 incap, 3 kills, 1 flood, and 3 spotted ribbons. For team score, we ended up getting top of our team at 1.8k base XP. A win, guys. I know you wanted to see a win. There you go. We got a win. Detailed report. 42k there on that Yamato from SAP. 17k on the Ragnar from SAP. 13k on the Shima from SAP. And then 64k on the GK. Big damage again on the GK. 8k on the Howden Leu. 7k on the Huffman with SAP. And 5k on the Vermont. And 1.9k on that Koshiro at the end. You didn't see that part because I kind of skipped it. But 7k from Aishi this game, mostly sap damage this game, and we got some torpedo damage. We actually ended up getting 500 damage from floods as well, which is pretty big. But 20k damage received this game, and credits and XP screen. This is the credits and XP screen. Ooh, I don't know what I changed. For my commander build for the Attilio Regolo, we're running Luigi Sansonetti, Preventative Maintenance, Last Stand, Survivability Expert, Concealment Expert, Fearless Brawler, Adrenaline Rush, and Main Battery NA Specialist Expert. For my equipment, we've got Main Battery Mod 3, Concealment System Mod 1, Prop Mod 1, Aiming System Mod 1, Engine Boost Mod 1, and Main Armaments Mod 1. For the armor layout for the ship, Standard Destroyer, nothing much to say, guys. For the ship characteristics, we got 31,850 HP. We've got 8 135mm guns, 4.8 second reload, 11.5 kilometer gun range. Torpedoes, we've got 13.5 kilometer torps. We've got 13.9k damage, 56 knots of speed, and 13.5 kilometer range. Maneuverability, 43.1 knots with a 25% speed boost, 770 meter turning circle radius, and 5.7 second rudder shift time. Concealment 7.2 kilometer detection. For the exterior camouflage, guys, we've got actually 2 I want to showcase for you guys. Mainly, first of all, the camo we just used, which is the actual normal permanent camouflage for the Attilio Regolo, which I think looks the best on the Attilio Regolo. I like this yellow, gray, seems like a mint green on the back. We've got the little stripes at the front, which is really nice, and we got these black and gray style stripes. And then we also have the Hot Wind camo, which was for the early access event for the Regolo, which looks like a golden style, yellowish camo, desert style camouflage, which is also really nice actually. But I prefer The other one. Let me know which camo you actually prefer. I do prefer the other one, actually, this one. And for how to get the Regolo, we click Tech Tree for the Italians, and we go for the line for the Destroyer line right here. It's at the tier 10 right there. And yeah, that's pretty much the Attilio Regolo. In terms of is it good, I think it's pretty good. It's just a bit hard to play maybe for most, or at least for some. I'm wondering what your experiences is though, because I actually don't know what you guys think. So I'm really curious as to what you guys think. But that is pretty much it for the Regolo. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, do please leave a like to the video and a sub to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it a lot, and help me to pick what ship you want me to cover in the next video. Big fan.